Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How y'all doing? Everybody good? All right, we're going to come right out the gate. You know the real deal. As I always say, download your corporate compliance policy, your employer's corporate compliance policy, and also this is cool, download your signed contract agreement. Then do further investigation and rest as far as your union, as far as their fiduciary. What is their mission and representation for you in that? So moving forward, you know how I do. You know, no nonsense, the facts. This is Mayor Order 16 right here. And you can see it. It says on the top in red, you are obligated to report corruption. All right? It says most employees, it's fading out. Most employees are honest, hardworking people. However, as in any other business, there are always a few people who think they're above the law. For instance, there have been city workers who have asked for, you know, the routine. We're gonna go past that. And this is basically saying how DOI comes in, you know, but we're gonna go past that. We're gonna go straight up here where it says New York City Charter is the New York City principal source of structure and governance. Chapter 34 of the chapter established DOI as the law enforcement agency with city government and set forth the agency's powers as jurisdiction. And if you get to download it, has the app or the location, you can hit it. And it says, pursuant to Mayor Executive Order 16, city employees must report allegations of corruption to DOI, Department of Investigations, and then this ensures that the charges will be probed, investigated confidentially and professionally by investigators or independents of the employee's own agency. So these are investigators of your own agency who will basically do it. And supervisors. Okay? Now it says over here, if a city employee has knowledge of a criminal activity and doesn't report it, that employee could face disciplinary actions or termination, or more serious penalties in the court of law. A city employee who interferes or obstructs a DOI investigation could be removed from office or employment or face criminal or civil penalty. And it goes down here, it says, for your convenience, we have included yada yada yada. That was supposed to be then copy of Mayor Order 16. Okay, I'm gonna come out of that, which is a good thing. And I'm gonna go into this. Under Mayor Order 16, we're gonna go to Section 4 investigation, where it says, let me blow this up. It says upon receipt of any information concerning corrupt or the criminal activity or conflict of interest or gross mismanagement or abuse of authority related to his or her agency, the Inspector General of such agency shall report directly and without undue delay such information to the Department of Investigations and shall proceed in accordance with the commissioner's directions. So if you contact your corporate compliance officer and then he informs DOI, DOI has to inform the commissioner of DOI in reference to what was the allegations that they received. So we're going to go here to F. That was E. We're going to go to F, where it says, no officer or employee other than the commissioner and inspector general, commissioner or an inspector general, or an officer or employee under the supervision shall conduct any investigation concerning corrupt or other criminal activity or conflict of interest or gross misconduct or abuse of authority without prior approval of the commissioner or the inspector general. So no one can do it unless them. Okay, no one can do it. And then over here we're gonna go. That was F. We're gonna go to G. G says no officer or employee, or of the no officer or employee of these shall take an adverse personal action. G. No officer or employee of the shall take an adverse personnel action as defined in local law number 10 of 1984 with respect to another officer or employee retaliation for his or her making a report of information concerning corrupt or other criminal interest, gross misconduct, abuse of authority to the commissioner or an inspector general. Okay, we got that, right? So basically we just said that if you're making a complaint and at your facility in reference to something that's ongoing, how you're being dealt with, and you made a complaint, basically a written complaint to be exact, right? And you filed this complaint at your facility with your EEO, whatever, okay? Because that would be the one, especially if it's an act of discrimination, it would go with EEO. So at Health and Hospitals was filed with EEO. Let's get to EEO. The EEO was obligated, Mayor Order 16, right? Well, I ain't even going to their own corporate compliance policy. But under Mayor Order 16, they were obligated to forward the information to the corporate compliance officer, who will forward it to the EEO. I mean, to the DOI investigator. Okay? And then the DOI investigator would inform the commissioner, and then it would run from there. Okay. The mere fact that the information was recorded and reported to, remember, recorded and reported to, because once you write it down, it's recorded as a contract. Once it's recorded and reported to the facility's EEO official, they are obligated. Now, let me show you where the obligation kicks in. The mere fact that the individual used his vehicle in breaking... Oh, there we go. We back. Like I said, because they broke laws such as 1212 traffic law, misdemeanor, act of gross misconduct, 12020 penal law, misdemeanor, act of reckless. Both of them is full. 1212 is reckless driving, and 120 is recklessness. And the key thing is when you put somebody in fear of imminent danger in that. It will also fall under 120:15, which is menacing. It's also like threatening a person. That's one that's threatening. That's a violation of corporate compliance policy. That's also a Class A misdemeanor. Okay, the mere fact that he questioned the employee, interrogated the employee while the employee's off duty under threat and coercion, 13560. Class A misdemeanor. So we got all these misdemeanors. And what you got to do is break one law under the corporate compliance policy, especially the fact that the individual's probationary employee. We're going to go right back, moving forward to the EEO. Once this information was reported to the EEO and the EEO recorded it, this jumps in. That jumps right in. Why? Jackie Robinson, 42. How does it jump in? because of the simple fact that you told the EEO that he broke these laws, right, and you reported it. Not only that, the mere fact when you came back to the facility for your next tour of duty, and he deprived you of your parking. So that right there, under discrimination, depriving your department, that kicked that in automatically. Not only that, was your civil service law, section 75B, kicked in. Now, we're going to move forward to the EEO and their actions of submitting a rebuttal to the state to try to cover up for the employer for their actions of gross misconduct or gross negligence. Okay. The mere fact that they sent the rebuttal to the state, saying in the rebuttal they stated that they conducted an investigation. Now, I just read to you on the Mayor Order 16, they're not allowed to conduct an investigation. But when you go to the employer's corporate compliance policy, you're going to go to page number 14 of 49. It's 14 of the 49. You're going to go to the bottom paragraph. And on the bottom paragraph, the last sentence says the same thing. No officer or employee are allowed to conduct investigation. So we got that in the Mayor Order 16. We got that in your own corporate compliance policy. Yet this individual did it. Not a problem. The mere fact that you said that you wrote in your rebuttal that you did conduct an investigation, that right there basically signed and sealed that you committed a crime. Yeah, that would constitute you offering an instrument for filing on the record with false written statement. That would be, what's that, 175.30? So let's stay there with 30, right? But it's a punishment instrument, right? Because you're saying that the individual who filed the complaint, they're in the wrong, right? So that would be 210.45. Punishable instrument. Both of them, Class A misdemeanors. Okay. There's a due process you must follow. Under Mayor Order 16, you had to follow that due process. You failed to follow due process. So your actions and failure to follow due process constitutes corruption. Yeah, so in your actions not doing so, that's what's that, 195.05, obstruction of governmental administration. You didn't follow the proper procedures of your employer. Okay? You did forward this information to another entity, such as the state of New York. Yeah? Okay? In doing so, forwarding to the state of New York, you are now corrupting them with fraudulent information. So that will fall under subsection 496.02, corrupting the government. Looking for them to make a decision under the information that you provided. Okay? So that brings about accountability. Under Penal Law Code 2020, criminal liability under Penal Law Code 2020. It also brings about subsection 2025 Penal Law Code of being that you're an employee for the corporation under criminal liability. It also being that you got other people involved to work with you. That also brings about subsection 105.000, which is conspiracy. We're not gonna go by anything else but your actions. These are your actions. And the number one thing, which will be, let's go to the 48 laws of power. What is the first law of power? Never outshine the master. And what was the master's desire? Or what did he say? On the Mayor Order, Executive Order number 16. You are obligated to report corruption, even the abuse of authority. Yet you failed to do so. So, in you passing it on, you got other people involved. They passed it on as well, and they looked the other way. as they look the other way, meaning human resources director, because that supervisor said, no, you have to go upstairs after he told me about that. And I went and reported it to you. And as per that human resources director, how did they end up writing that termination letter? Corruption. The real fact that we're going to go into is when we go to that Jackie Robinson is the main fact that not only was I deprived my right of parking in a paid parking lot that I paid for on the signed contract agreement, but also to add, you deprived me of civil service law section 75B. And in section 75B, it says the same thing. You cannot have cause no adverse actions, personal actions, whatever. It basically says if you do so, it would constitute an improper governmental action. Okay? And that, an improper governmental action, it would say if you violated any federal, state, or local laws. Because New York has a local law, number 33, and that it was number 10, but they revised it, it's number 33. Because New York has a local law, number 3, that covers whistleblower. That's the second one. We are in the state of New York with our honorable governor, Cuomo. I want to see what you say to him about violating New York's labor law, 740, under whistleblower protection. Especially the fact that this is a civil servant employee. And how many civil servant employees you've done this to. That's the key right there. So we're looking at the fact that how many laws was broken or disregarded. I'm just going to disregard this. I'm just going to do what I want to do. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. We just got to see what it is that you did, how you violated your corporate compliance policy, how you violated under your signed contract agreement, how you violated any federal, state, or local laws, rules, regulations, guidelines. The rules, regulations, and guidelines are based on your corporate compliance policy. But how you violated that? And I done named several. Number 1 was Mayor Order 16, Executive Order 16. Then we're going to go to the penal law that you violated. Okay? Because of the incident that was recorded and brought to your office under your responsibility and your obligation, you were supposed to take action. But you didn't. You didn't. How did you get that parachute to go to another agent, to another? Oh, that would be the executive officer, right? Who is also the senior vice president. Who is in charge of labor relations and human resources. We look at the fact of how that labor relations officer was dealt with, as well as the hospital police director and assistant director. There were certain people that was dealt with in this case, but how did you get it passed? That's the key. When you're the key individual you go to in reference to a whistleblower. I don't know. I just felt that we had to bring that out. There's so many people that's suffering in the whole 9 yards. You're not understanding what you're causing. What you're causing is cumulative effects. Like this guy used to brag. He used to brag that he did over 50 people at the North Brooklyn Health Center. That one place I did over 50 people here. Terminated or suspended over 50 people. You're not looking at the fact of your actions. He wasn't looking at the fact of his actions. Let's just imagine that each individual had a family of 4. In doing this to at least 50, we're now talking about a sum of 200 people that's being affected by this. Okay? If it's 2 people, it's just him and his significant other, or her and her significant other, you're now talking about 100 people. If I'm correct, yes, 100 people. Who's now their livelihood just changed based on the fact of your gross negligence and gross misconduct. Thinking you have these godlike powers. Unacceptable. If the employer doesn't take action the whole 9 yards, then I feel all those employees who had to suffer at the hands of your gross misconduct, gross negligence, violation of state law, federal law, local laws, they need to do a class action lawsuit against you. If not, do it independently. A lot of them, you see, a lot of people, you think, it's too much time to pass by. I want you to Google, what's that? That Jackie Robinson, U.S. Code 42. You need to Google this. Why? Because if you deprive them of a right or privilege in the whole 9 yards, basically, there's no statute of limitations. They can still come after you. This is what's need to be done for people like you to make sure that our system gets rid of the cancer. Like you. Oh, well, I got a meeting to go to. So on that note, you know what time it is. The facts cannot be altered nor denied. Have a wonderful day, and I'm out. Later.